Do you know what the top 5 problems of talking to your doctor on this guy are? Well, hey, stick around because that's what we're doing today. How's it going, everybody? I'm Joey Chingola with Chingola Insurance, and today we're going to list the top 5 problems and solutions, how about that, of telemedicine. Well, if you don't know what telemedicine is, I've got an entire video, an article right up here linked, or linked below, whatever you want to do, it's linked here and here, so go check that out. If you don't really know what telemedicine is, then come back and join us and then you can learn about the problem. So if you do know what telemedicine is, then you're trying to decide really if this is something that is gonna work for you and maybe your family. But before you do that, you kind of want to know what the good, the bad, and maybe even the ugly is. I mean, it's probably a decent idea. So what I've been doing, I've spent the last 3 to 4 months really trying every telemedicine company I can get my mitts on. In doing so, I've put together my list of the top 5 problems that I've encountered or that I think you are most likely to encounter when using these services. It's also important to note before we get into the list that a lot of these problems have actually very easy solutions. That is, of course, if you're not looking for your doctor to make a unicorn fly and to have gold coins just magically appear from the sky. So let's get into the biggest problems and solutions of trying to talk to your doctor on the internet. Number 1, all doctors aren't created equal. As much as we want to believe that earning the fancy letters MD instantly makes you a master physician, it's not true. You and I both know that there are plenty of doctors that slip through all kinds of scary and horrific cracks. So that means that there's a good chance whatever virtual doctor's service you do choose, there'll be some growing pains that come along with it. But once you get adjusted, you will find out, which service has the most doctors that kind of pass your test. So solution to this problem of all doctors not being created equal, well, you're gonna play, Dr. Russian roulette regardless of who you go see in that urgent care type situation. Whether it's to the urgent care down the street, the ER, the whatever, you're calling them up on your phone, whatever the situation is, if you're in a situation where you're not booking an appointment with a doctor that you already know, you're just kind of spinning the chamber and hoping that you get a good one, right? Or an empty one, I guess, whatever that analogy is. Yeah, an empty one would be good, right? Sniffing out the bad ones is unavoidable. Number 2, proximity. So if we're going to be a master of the obvious right now, not being in the same physical room as your doctor is going to limit exactly what that doctor can and cannot do for you. Shocker, I know. If you don't have the right expectations of the type of treatment you can receive from a telemedicine service, well, then you're opening yourself up for a decent amount of disappointment. So the obvious solution is that if you do know the exact type of treatment you can receive from these services, or a televisit if you will, you'll know exactly where this type of healthcare can be slotted in your overall healthcare arsenal. Number 3, technical difficulties. Technology is great. Well, most of the time. Even the best services aren't immune to interruption. You're probably still patching holes from that time Netflix went out during your House of Cards binge watch session. Don't lie, I know you are. Don't lie. Also, that's not even to mention the trouble your Wi-Fi likes to start anytime that you have something time sensitive or important to do. Just think of the field day it's getting ready to have when you have to schedule a video call with a doctor. You can just see it twirling its little evil mustache as it plots against your sanity. That's also not even taking into consideration the amount of times your phone just randomly restarts itself because your children have discovered that it's the greatest play toy ever invented. And it is, actually. So they're right about that. Solution? Sorry, I think we're in this one together. There is no solution. Just gotta bite the bullet. Number 4, it's not for chronic conditions. I mean, this is kind of an extension of number 2, but it's really important to know what this service can and cannot do. Most telemedicine services aren't designed to monitor ongoing chronic health conditions. If you keep booking appointments for your diabetes and COPD, well, you might find yourself getting called into the medical principal's office. Solution, don't put a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work out for anybody involved, especially the peg in the hole. And number 5, I don't know which way do you want it, 5. They're late. If we've learned one thing to expect from the medical community, is that they treat a schedule more like a suggestion as opposed to something that should be strictly followed. That's right, I said it. I said it. While most of these services promise a response within minutes, sometimes things just don't work out. I'm definitely currently in the process of testing this out with as many companies as possible. So far, after 12 plus visits with 4 different telemedicine companies, rarely have I ever had to wait longer than a commercial break during the Super Bowl. I thought it was a little more clever than just to say like 5 minutes. You probably appreciated it, right? Hope so. The solution here, if it happens once, well, I wouldn't worry about it. If it happens twice, you have my permission to be mildly annoyed. If it happens a third time, well, there just probably is cosmic forces conspiring against you, and that you're gonna have to deal with. On your own, though, of course. With telemedicine, doctors running behind schedule has become the exception, not the rule that we've come to expect in the actual physical world. So what's the bottom line? So these types of services are still pretty new. And to be honest, I bet that you're not using it, or your neighbor's not using it, so there's not a lot of people using it. You might not even know that it exists. As more and more doctors, hospitals, and companies get into the game, these problems will continue to improve, I hope, I would imagine, right? And they could evolve and possibly even just go away. At the end of the day, the one thing standing at the center of all of these problems and issues are your expectations and overall just kind of understanding and knowledge of the service, and what you can and cannot, more importantly, use it for. So what's the next step? Well, if you want to actually see what a visit looks like with one of these telemedicine doctors, or teledocs, if you will, go ahead, click right here on my face to do that, to kind of go behind the office room door and see what that whole process is like, getting it set up and all that fun stuff. But again, click right here on my face to do that, or there is a link below in the video's description. But of course, as always, I do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. It does mean a lot to me. And I'm Joey Giangola with Giangola Insurance. Take it easy, everybody.